And now it's time for the ridiculous.
What kinds of things make people piss?
And how many suitors exactly has she dismissed?
Siri, what are some locations for a lover's tryst?
Oh, darling, surely there must be a list.
A list?
A list?
A list? You're telling me it's all here on this bleeding list? That's preposterous and ludicrous.
Well, actually, it's all quite
Ridiculous, ridiculous, ridiculous.
Welcome to The Ridiculous. I'm Sally Brooks.
And I'm Jen O'Neill, and we are back with more fun lists for you this week.
Welcome back, everybody. I am good. Do you know what I did this weekend that was so much fun?
What?
I danced in the Pride Parade.
Oh, that's awesome. I wish I could have gone.
It was so much fun.
Looked amazing.
It was great. It was so... If you listen to Dumb Love, Jen and I went to this. We started going to this hip hop dance class. We would just go every so often, but it's so fun. It's just like all women of like different abilities, different sizes, different ages, like just everybody having a great time. The first time we went, it's at a rec center, and the entire stage was set up. We didn't realize that it was like
a
props,
movie
but
set.
It was a movie set, right? But it looked
Yeah.
like an altar, like full on church. And we were like, and it's very like, we're twerking, you're doing like a lot of touch your body ladies, like very body positive, empowering. And we were just like, what is happening?
Because there was like a giant picture of like Jesus. It was like
Yes, a
Jesus
huge
and a huge cross. And we're like, so this, okay.
It turns out it was just a movie set, but that's the group that I went with, and it was just a great time. Lots of like everybody. It was just such like a fun environment to be around, like because we mostly just stood around waiting for the parade to start around all of the other groups that were like walking the parade, and it was cool to see like so many different groups show up to celebrate Pride, and just all of the people who were like there to see the parade. Everybody was just like, happy Pride, thanks for marching, happy Pride. It was just like such a positive environment, which I felt like was so needed. It was great.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah. I loved it.
I know. I'm so sad I missed it, but I hope to be there next year for sure.
Yeah, you gotta twerk for Pride, man.
I'm happy to.
I mean, people were excited to see like 40-year-old moms shaking their asses. It was great.
Good. Who wouldn't be?
And I was happy to do it. I was happy to be there for them.
Good.
Oh, man. All right. Well, should we get to our list?
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so my list for this week, I feel like might give away some secrets. Like, will I be considered a traitor to women? But I mean, well, this is a listicle for BuzzFeed.com by Kayla Yandoli. And so she's a woman, and she compiled this list. But I feel like it's like exposing secrets. But she asked women of the BuzzFeed community to tell BuzzFeed the biggest truths that they've kept from men. Like, what are the, like secrets, I guess, that you're keeping? And some of them are a little racy. Some of them are silly and some are stupid. But I'm going to read them for you.
All right.
Number one was written by Morgan Lee Slay, said, "We're just gross, if not grosser than you are." Like men. From letting huge farts rip and giggling to staring at period clots. Yeah, we be nasty. We're just better at hiding it and cleaning up the evidence. Winky face. Do you believe that to be true? I mean, I don't think I'm that nasty.
I mean, I know it to be true for myself. I can't speak for other women. Hashtag not all women, but I will say that yes, I do believe that I am a disgusting human being.
Is that, do you hide it from Ben or do you share it with Ben? Do you laugh about it?
Ben's fully aware of all of but also because of the way that we met, like we met out backpacking. And so both of us were like at our most gross when we met. There was just like no walking back from that. Like when you know from the minute you meet someone what time of day and where they're going to poop, like there was just no hiding anything. Like if you like, when I met him, I hadn't showered for days. So yeah, he knows all of it. I'm not good at
Yeah.
hiding it.
I know. I have to say that when when I got divorced and went back into the dating scene, there was like I gotta do this all over again as far as like pretending that I'm not gross.
Yeah.
But
That would be hard. I mean,
It
I
is
would
hard.
have a really hard time with that because
Yeah.
I've really become
You're just
probably
so
too
used to-
comfortable.
right. Mhm.
Ben might say too comfortable.
Like I have to shave every day and
Yeah.
I know. Wear bras.
Let me ask you this. When you're doing those things, like when you're like keeping up like those appearances, not appearances, but like when you're like, just doing the like niceties that you do when you're just meeting new people, did you feel like better about yourself or did you feel like, oh, this feels uncomfortable? I'm just wondering if I should step up my game.
What do you mean? Like when I started dating again?
Yeah, when you were like going out on lots of dates, so you were probably like getting like more dressed up more often or like shaving all the time or just doing all of the like body maintenance kind of things that you like don't always do when you've been in a long-term relationship. I'm wondering like how did it affect you as a person rather than like the other person?
You know what's funny? I was thinking about this the other day, and I think I dress up more now. Now that I've been with Jim for a year, I think I wear dresses out more.
Yeah.
I put more effort into my appearance because I don't know, like I just like, I like when we get dressed up and go out.
Yeah.
But I can remember dates that I went on and I was like, I can't believe I wore that. Like, I think I got so jaded at some point. So I was like, I mean, this is going to whatever. And I just wore like a sweatshirt and jeans to go meet a guy for, you know what I mean? Like, it went in waves. Like there were times where I like really, wanted to look good and spent time getting ready. And then after like, the 20th terrible date, I was just like, whatever, I'm going to go straight from work. I'm not even going to put on makeup. I guess it just like, So I can't say that like it kind of just depends on where you're at in the world of dating for sure.
Right. You're like just show up in your pajamas like fuck you guys.
Yeah, because I mean sometimes people like, I one of my very first dates that I was supposed to go on, this is interesting too, is that I was supposed to go on a date with a guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was on a walk on the Beltline and earlier that morning. And so I was wearing no makeup, hair in a bun, workout clothes. I was like working out. Yeah. And he was like, oh, I'm on the Beltline. Like, let's meet. And I was like, oh, and I was like, well, might as well rip off the Band-Aid now, right? Like you might as well just see me what I look like with no makeup on and whatever.
Yeah.
And so I met him. And we walked for like an hour, talked a lot, whatever. Like it seemed like a good time. And then we were supposed to meet up later that night for a date. And he didn't show up and he didn't call me. He didn't text me. And so, of course, I was like, oh my God, it's because I was like disgusting. And this is my first date, whatever. And then but then the next day he texted me. He was like, hey, sorry, I got a little too drunk at the brewer. And I just never said anything back to him because I was like, that's not you could have texted, whatever.
Right.
And so it's funny because to this day, it's been 2.5 years. He still texts me from time
I was gonna say, and that guy has never left your DMs.
No, he still messages me, and I'm just like, what for? Like, why? Like, I don't understand why you still want to talk to me when you didn't even show up for our date. And so it's really funny. But anyway. So yeah, that was like a weird thing for me too. It was like my very first time meeting a guy ever. Yeah. And I had no makeup on. And then he didn't show up for the actual date. So then I was like, oh my God, is it because I
remember that. I think we were at the East Atlanta Strut.
Yeah.
And he was supposed to meet you and you were like, what the fuck? And I was like, this is not about you, Jen. This is him.
I know. It was just like not a good entry into the world of dating. That's for sure. But yeah, sorry. But yeah, so I don't know. Like I'm all over the place when it comes to
I wonder if it's kind of like, I definitely went through a phase where I dressed way down on stage because I was like tired of people afterwards like getting like a lot of male attention.
Yeah.
I mean, this was also when I was like younger and hotter, but like I just did,
You
I
are
hated that.
smoking hot.
I was so smoking hot, but I
You are
hated that
still
that
smoking
was, thank you. Now I appreciate it.
Mhm.
But like I hated that was the reaction I got after shows was like people being like men being gross rather than like, oh, you're so funny or like we really liked the show or whatever. So I started just dressing like really plain.
Yeah.
And it was almost like, well, I want you to like me for the reasons I want you to like me, not because like
Right.
I look hot on stage or whatever.
And maybe
I don't have
that's
that problem
why-
anymore, but
Maybe that's why I dress up more now for Jim is
Yeah.
because I know that like he likes me either way. And,
Yeah.
he'll do hot yoga with me in the morning where I'm like disgusted,
right.
But it's like, I guess maybe I'm like, okay, well, you deserve the effort.
Yeah. Well, and you deserve that effort. Like you like putting
Right.
that effort in, like as well, right?
Yeah. So we got through number 1.
Sorry.
This
you
one
gave me
is
2
funny.
sips of wine and I'm ready to chat.
I know. We decided that this was going to be a wine drinking episode because
Yeah.
it's at night. We've worked all day. Let's just have a little wine.
And
Little mommy wine time.
my good friend Jen, who works for a wine distributor, got me a whole bunch of wine. So I got
Yeah.
I have a really nice white here.
We paid for it. We didn't steal it.
No,
We paid for it. This one is by Panda 13 and it says which one are you drinking, by the way? The Sauv Blanc or the
the
Le
Sauv
Ballon
Blanc.
Rouge?
I've
You
tried
like
both
it?
of them. It's great.
Yeah, they're great. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Both of them are really good.
Okay. This one is by Panda 13 and it says, I'm a straight woman and I think all dicks are ugly. Even if I like you a lot, it's just not exciting to look at. Obviously, if we've gotten that far where we've seen each other naked, I like looking at the rest of you though.
I think that's a pretty like common feeling.
I think women always say that they'd rather go to a female strip club than a male strip club because women are just prettier to look at. Yeah.
I mean, there's something like, I guess exciting because it's like forbidden part, but it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not that much. It's not great. They're not great.
It's just, yeah. What's that from like Bridesmaids when Kristen Wiig talks about how it's like, it's so funny, and that's a great interpretation. Okay.
Yeah.
This person wrote, 10 Kelly 90 wrote, I've never once had a man make me orgasm better than I've made myself. I mean, you should tell him that.
Yeah. That sounds like an issue.
Sounds like something you should tell him. Yeah.
Yeah.
This one says, this one I can relate to. It's Kittytude said, if I buy a piece of jewelry, new shoes, a new purse, or anything for myself, I fib about the cost. If it's a $250 purse, I lie and say I splurged and spent $100 on the handbag. It's just easier this way, and he has no clue about the cost of anything I buy for myself. I get that. Like this was a thing I used to do when I was married. My ex-husband used to, for every holiday, every Christmas, birthday, any gift giving situation, without a doubt, it was always a Madewell gift card.
Yeah.
Every time. And so I started to use that to my advantage because what I would do is like when then like even outside of the gift card, I'd go shopping or whatever. And every time I'd come home with Madewell bags, I'd be like, from the gift card, thank you. And then he would be happy because he'd be like, oh, cool, you used it. I'm like, yeah, still using it. Every day. Thank you. Yeah. So
it's
ladies,
so funny.
Try that. It's genius.
I remember my mom used to like she would have she was like a big shopper, and she was like very like it was always places, she would go to the thrift store, she would go to like TJ Maxx or something. Like it wasn't, she didn't spend like big money, but she was like a spender, and she would have trunks full of clothes that when my dad would be out of town, she would bring in the house and then be like, oh yeah, I've had that.
Oh yeah.
Like just, but I can never hide anything from Ben because we have separate bank accounts, but we have a shared credit card, which we mostly use to spend like we buy everything on the credit
Right.
card to get points. And it's like in his name, and he has like the alert set, and so he'll be like, "Oh, did you just spend like it's like $100?" So anything over $100, he gets an
Oh
alert, and he'll be like,
gosh.
"Oh, I just got an alert. Did you spend $100 at wherever?" And I'm like, "Fucking
Oh
Chase Bank."
man.
Like he doesn't care, right? We make
Right, that's
money,
good.
and it's not a big deal. Like it's definitely not an issue in our marriage, but like it's still because it's just like I feel like judged.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter.
that's why
He is not judging me, but I feel judged.
I've never shared a bank account with anybody. And
Yeah.
like that's I prefer it that way for sure.
Yeah, we don't have joint accounts either. Like I have my
Yeah.
own money, he has his own money. We just
Well-
happen to share this one credit card.
They say that the number one cause for turmoil in relationships or conflict
Mhm.
is money. And I
Yeah.
will say that's the one thing that we didn't have. We never fought about money
Yeah.
ever. It's because we had our own money and we kept it separate. Even when we divorced, it was like, you keep your money, I'll keep my money. We split everything down the middle. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, there was more to it than that, but I'm just saying, like, it was very easy.
Right.
See you later. No, it was like very easy for us to
Yeah, yeah,
divide
yeah.
everything because it was divided. And I think that I just believe in that. I don't know, but everyone's different. Okay, this person, Kara W98, said, sometimes I legit don't care about what you did at work today, but I ask because I'm supposed to and because you ask about mine. That's fair.
Yeah, and I think
mean-
that is probably that is got to be in everybody's relationship. Like, but like, asking about people's day, it's like that's like a connection point. Like that's common
Yeah.
courtesy, right? Like,
Right.
I'm sure Ben does not give a shit. It's just like sometimes I need to get it out and talk about work and talk. Like it's like it's boring and I don't really want to talk about
You're
it, but I
just
just need to
saying-
like process it. And I
Right.
need to talk about it to a person. So
That's understandable.
yeah.
Rachel Peterson one said that she doesn't tell men that she identifies as bi because guys are so gross about it, is what she
Oh, I
said.
bet.
I understand that.
Yeah.
And then this M. Catherine Kelly piggyback onto that and said they really are. I've also met countless anti-gay dudes who think two girls getting together is the hottest thing in the world. Nope, not okay.
Right.
Oh yeah, there's definitely a lot
Yeah.
of that. Okay, let's see. Isora 844 said, we have more hair than you might think, and we hide it pretty well. I'm talking about the stray hairs on her chin, nipples, and butt. I mean, yeah, it's a fact of life.
Yeah.
This one is relatable. Trilingual mom said, how the panic sets in if we're in a confined space with a man we don't know or don't know well. And that's so true. And men just don't get that. It's like, sometimes, like I've been in a room where a guy shuts the door and I don't know him and I have to be like, I start to panic, like, and it's nothing to them. They're not thinking like they're coming into your office or they're whatever.
Right.
And it's just normal. But it's like, we have to assess every time a man does that and comes into my office and shuts the door or even doesn't shut the door. Anytime I show an apartment to a man or whatever, I have to think about like, are you going to kill me? Are you going to hurt me? Can I overpower you?
Yeah.
Which isn't often. I mean, I'm not I'm 5'4", you know what I mean?
Right.
And that's just something that's just so lost on men. They just don't get it.
Yeah. I had
Yeah.
this experience that I think about all the time where it was like 3 a.m. This was in New York. I had been doing shows all night. So I was like walking home to my apartment and I lived on like a main street, but like where the last couple blocks where I lived, like if you walked from the subway to my apartment, the last couple blocks were like totally quiet. So it was just a neighborhood. So there was like nobody on the street, but I walked from the subway stop to past my apartment, like 10 feet behind a man, and he never once turned around. Like never once
Yeah.
turned around to look and see who, and I'm like, oh my God, it blew my mind because I'm like, not only like there was nobody else really on the street, and even in the like quiet part, he had to have heard me. He didn't have headphones on or anything. He never looked around to see who was behind him. And I just was like, that is such a crazy thing because when I am walking, even during the day, but mostly at night, like my head is on a swivel. Like I'm always looking to
Yeah.
see, is there another woman or another couple I could walk close to? Like, I don't know who's going to come out of the shadows. Like, if there was a man walking that close behind me, I would stop and let him pass me.
Yeah.
It was just so crazy to me. I still think about it. I'm like, oh, how fucking comfortable your life is that you're not
Yeah.
constantly scared that somebody's going to jump out and like overpower you.
Yeah, I know. What a luxury, right?
Yeah.
To not have to worry about, just doing your job every day.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to worry about, well, police officers, of course, fire. Like,
Right.
it doesn't apply to everybody, but I'm just saying, like, in an office, a guy that works in an office.
Yeah.
He's not worried. But even just a woman that works in an office, if somebody comes into her office, you have to size them up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Christiana Cracker said, we treat men with kid gloves. We try to keep men happy and fed. We turn down advances in whatever way will make them feel the best about themselves. And we work extremely hard to keep men from turning angry. We fear men's anger because we know all too well that it can and often does end in death for us. So we end up coddling all men for our own protection. That is so fucking true.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, I think what is hard for a lot of men to understand is that like, because they're not threats, right? Like
Right.
most men are not threatening and they don't have ill intentions. And so they just think like, well, why would you feel that way about me? It's like,
I'm nice
well,
to you. Yeah.
well, we
but
can't
it's like,
know, like we can't
Yeah.
know that you are a nice person because even the nicest men and generally the ones who are like the love bombers and the nicest like turn. I mean, if you've like been on social media at all, like in October, it's Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and there's so many people telling their stories, and it's so many are so much the same of like, he was amazing when I met him, and then it turned, and here's where it turned, and like then
Yeah.
just like so it's like a lot of women with men that they don't know are like, well, I'm not gonna like, if you're hitting on me, I'm gonna be very nice because I don't know what the reaction is gonna be if I am an asshole.
Yeah.
Like if I say what I feel, if I actually say like, oh, fuck off, like, no, thank you.
Yeah. Women have been murdered for that. Like,
Yeah.
or even in the least like violent sense. I remember this happening one time where I was out with my friend, John,
Mhm.
who my ex-husband trusted because I've been friends with John since high school.
Yeah.
And I was out with him and some other friends, and we were at this like club, and this guy just like wouldn't leave me alone. And then he was like, he took out his phone because we were leaving, and he took
Mhm.
out his phone. He's like, "Oh, give me your number real quick." And I was like, and he goes, "Just so we'll all meet up later and get breakfast or something." Like he made it sound like he wanted it to be for the whole group, and I was like, And then I gave him my number. And I remember my friend John being like, "Why did you do that? That's so not cool, man. You have a boyfriend. Like, I would be pissed if my girlfriend." I was like, "John, I panicked." Like, and then like, I was like, "You don't understand. Like, it's like guys get angry or they'll be like, oh, well, you're fucking ugly anyway." If I said I have a boyfriend, they'd be like, "Whatever. Like, you're disgusting or whatever." They'll say the most horrific shit to you. And so I panicked, and then I went home, and sure enough, this guy blew up my phone all night long. And even before the phone rang, I explained it to, he was my boyfriend at the time, but I was like, this guy, I like gave him my number, and Zach was pissed at me. He was so mad. It was something that like took like forever for me to apologize for and live down. And I had no interest in this guy. I did not want to see him, talk to him. I did not answer the phone. I kept trying to get away from him, but I gave him my number because I was scared.
Yeah,
and
because you just wanted to like get away from it. You wanted to get out of the situation, and you were like, I can deal with this later.
Yes, I know.
Like when I'm not in physical proximity of this man.
And it was just like, no matter how much I explained it to my best friend, John, or to my boyfriend, they just couldn't understand it. They were like, no.
It's because they're not the men who would act like that. And so they just don't believe that is how other men act. And it's like, no, it doesn't have to be all, it's just one. And we have to like be careful of all men we don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, this is taking a turn.
This is a funny list.
It's so not funny. This one said, we are generally not impressed by your ham-fisted attempt to play the bass guitar. Maybe a song or two, but we didn't sign up for an exclusive 5-hour solo bass concert featuring Dave from Tinder. Take the non-specific compliment and put the guitar down. That's so
my gosh.
funny.
Did you ever have to endure like a one-on-one, like I'm going to play the guitar for you?
Yes, of course.
Oh God, the most awkward.
I know. When they like look into your eyes. Anyway, these are the last ones. This one says, I don't share really private, explicit things about my partner and I with my friends. It's private and intimate for a reason and should be kept as unless discussed. Huh. And then this person said, same. I've known people who will go into great detail about their sex lives, but I do not. I keep it between my partner and I. Yeah.
I mean, I agree. I have
think
that
that's
joke
the right
about
thing to do.
Yeah, I have that joke about that where I'm just like, it's not cool to talk about your sex lives with your friends because like then you have to like if you were telling me stuff about you and Jim, I'm hanging out with Jim and then I'd have to be like, oh God.
Yeah,
I know that. Like I don't like it. I don't want to overshare about people's sex lives.
No,
if I have
agree.
If it's a random one-off, great. Tell me all the dirty details. But if it's like a guy, I then
if
have
it's a
to
guy
interact
you'll never
with,
see again. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't want to have to know.
Yeah. Well, don't worry. Because I don't talk about that. I just talk about everything else on a podcast in a public forum
right.
for everyone to chime in. Well, that's my list.
That was great. I mean, we got real fired up on that one, but like, sometimes shit's just true.
Yeah. Sometimes you just got to tell it like it is.
Sometimes we got to wave some fingers and drink some wine.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my list is a little more lighthearted. But you know what made me think of it was, I was listening to Max and I last night before bed. We're listening to an old episode of Dumb Love and we were giving a Night Clipper update, which we have not talked about on this podcast or for a while.
Mm-mm.
But the Night Clipper was a guy in Jen's neighborhood who would go around in the middle of the night clipping people's landscaping because he didn't like the way that it like came over the sidewalk.
Angrily, like ripping it out with by the fistfuls.
And it was like a whole thing on Nextdoor. And then I also thought about the time that your neighbor posted a video of you on Nextdoor because he thought you were stealing
a porch
packages off his porch, even though he knew you were getting
my packages.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, I bet there's some really funny lists about Nextdoor posts.
Oh.
And Jen, there are. So I have
amazing.
I have a list from, it's called tastefully-offensive.com. It was compiled by Dan, just Dan. Just Dan. And it was 30 funny Nextdoor posts that will make you appreciate having sane neighbors. Okay, so the first one is somebody named Leroy posted on Nextdoor, upset with my neighbor's Wi-Fi name. And he said, hi all. Now, we all use devices to connect to the internet and whatnot, and my grandkids come over and use their phones and iPads too. Well, the other day, my grandson went to connect to the Wi-Fi, and our neighbor's router name is All Cops Are Buttholes.
Oh my God.
Now, my wife and I are very upset because he started crying and we had to explain to him that indeed all cops are not buttholes, etc. And it's generally just a rude thing to broadcast. Is there any way I could block this signal or possibly call the non-emergency police and have them go over and give a stern warning? I bet they wouldn't like to hear about a network called All Cops Are Buttholes. Any ideas, guys?
Oh my God. Can I tell you that as a landlord, a lord of the land, this has happened multiple times where I've gotten a complaint from a tenant or a call from a tenant because another tenant's Wi-Fi name was the loud ass bitch downstairs, or my neighbor won't stop singing horribly, or my neighbor's a terrible something. They passive aggressive Wi-Fi, and that's got to be a list somewhere. It's like passive aggressive Wi-Fi names, and I'm like, I don't know what. I can't make them change their name.
And I love that. I just love that people think,
shut up.
Yeah. You're like, maybe you should take a hint. I don't know.
Yeah.
How do you know it's about you? If it is,
I know.
If you're the loudest bitch upstairs, then maybe be quieter. So this one is like they said this is an actually cool neighbor. This person posted, getting drunk on my porch. Anybody want to join? I've been fully vaccinated for 6 weeks and I haven't had much social interaction. LOL. I'd love to meet some neighbors. I'm a chef. I'll cook you something. Sigh. Missing restaurants and social interaction. Also, I won't be wearing makeup or a bra.
I want to hang out with them.
Like, that sounds like an amazing neighbor. I would have gone over.
Yeah, me too.
This next person wrote, during the entirety of my library visit, which was about an hour, I watched this man stare at photos of Gary Busey and print them off. I do not know what his agenda is, but I have a feeling it could be a cult or Illuminati related. Good night.
Oh my God.
And then there's a picture of the man looking at Gary Busey.
Wow.
Okay, so this one is.
I would have thought it would be like a Gary Busey is loose in the neighborhood. Everybody watch out.
my neighborhood.
Gary Busey.
My neighborhood is doing the most adorable thing where there is somebody who is dressed up like Bigfoot, and they're just like hanging out all over the neighborhood, and people are taking pictures and then putting it up on our Facebook page, and they'll be like, we spotted Bigfoot at whatever. Bigfoot was at this park. Bigfoot's by my house. Like,
oh
and
my
it's
God,
awesome.
I love
it's
that.
just, nobody knows who it is, but it's just like somebody. Remember we did that story about the guy who dressed up every year
like
as Michael
Jason?
Myers?
Yeah. Oh, that's it. Michael Myers.
Yeah. And
that's
like,
so awesome.
Yeah. So we have our own guy. Okay. So this one is a Halloween related one, but this is from the Rancho Cucamonga Neighborhood Watch. And it says, PSA, Halloween is officially 4 weeks away, and I was hoping to catch you all before you make your Halloween selections. Over the last 3 Halloweens, I've noticed candy stock has become more and more diluted with cheap candy. I don't know if this trend is a result of higher bills or new construction, but cheap candy has somehow infiltrated our community for Halloween, and it has to stop. Dum Dums, Smarties, and Jolly Ranchers may be suitable for Ontario, Fontana, or even Montclair, but not here in Rancho Cucamonga. We are an affluent neighborhood.
This has got to be a joke. Oh my God, I really hope that's a joke.
And this goes on and on. It says, for the elderly who hand out coins, please plan on throwing some quarters into the mix. Stop peddling your pennies and step up your game this Halloween.
Oh my God.
And then someone else posted, huge divorce sale. He couldn't keep his pants on, so they're yours. Starting at 9 a.m.-ish to whenever I pass out. Come by and get fabulous deals on furniture, clothes, kitchenware, and anything else my cheating husband touched. Bring your penicillin. Everything must go. Come and get it. Come and get his great deals. His girlfriend gets him, but not everything I bought. The sales will be amazing, and you'll love helping a newly single mom and her 2 kids. If you love great deals, nice stuff, and despise cheaters, come on over. Single attractive men 30 plus years of age are encouraged to attend.
That's amazing.
That's amazing. I remember somebody in our neighborhood, and I don't know if it was real or not, but somebody posted a next door about how their Roomba had gotten loose.
Like outside?
Like they had left the back door open and their Roomba had escaped.
Oh my God.
And it was wandering around the neighborhood. And I was like, is this real? I can't tell.
I know. I don't know. I feel like some people might post things on Nextdoor just for the fun of it.
Oh yeah. Well, our friend Ian Abear has a joke about, but I think it's a real Nextdoor post where there was somebody who was like talking about getting attacked by an owl. And then they were like,
that's a real thing.
Yeah, they had gotten attacked by an owl like 3 times. They were like, it's the same owl.
Oh my God. That's like, I believe that because
Yeah, I believe that. That happened in our neighborhood too. Like someone was like, my husband has been running in the morning and he got attacked by an owl twice. And I don't know if it's because he's bald or because he wears a necklace.
on the staircase, the like famous murder case,
Mhm.
the staircase. It's been like a documentary and like series on HBO. There's the owl theory, and that's
Mm.
the owl killed her. A lot of people stand by that theory.
I mean,
I don't think it was the owl. I think it was him, but
yeah. 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 It seems like it. Okay. Suspicious behavior. I saw my next door neighbor drive up to their house, open the garage door from inside the vehicle, and drive in and close the door behind them. It was last night around 5:30 p.m. Did anyone else see this? Typically, they park in the driveway, but last night they parked in the garage. I have made a report, but I want to keep others on the lookout for this type of behavior. It just makes me nervous for this to be happening in my neighborhood.
oh my god.
Which
Just like if I like, yeah, this is the kind of stuff that I'll get emails and calls about, is like people thinking something's going on in one of their neighbors because they have nothing better to do than to like be like, his flower pot is usually outside but he brought it inside, and do you think he's growing marijuana? He could be.
do you think
I
he's
know.
a serial
Like,
killer?
why are you noticing things like that? Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
Okay, I'll just do a couple more.
Okay.
This guy said, urgent, help. My son visited and blocked my fox on my TV. No, sorry. Help. This guy said, urgent, help. My son visited and blocked Fox on my TV. I don't trust digital or any of the other iTunes. Fox is all that is allowed in my household. Can I unblock Fox? I told my son I'm taking him out of the will.
Oh my god, that is amazing.
Which is, yeah, so great.
Oh, that's so great. Yeah.
Here's the last one. Okay, this one says, farting in my mailbox. And it says, someone keeps farting in my mailbox late at night. I can hear it outside the window and I smell it every time I check my mail. This is getting old and is extremely childish. My bills and coupons smell so bad I can't even pay them or use them at the grocery store. Anyone in the neighborhood, keep an eye out for the brown eye. I will catch the flatulent phantom.
That cannot be real. There's no way that's real. Oh my god. Oh god.
I love it. I mean, do you, in my neighborhood, it's always like every time there's fireworks, everybody's like, what's that noise? What was that noise?
Yeah, I get a lot of it's always titled like gunshots or fireworks question mark. Gunshot. So yeah, I get that all the time. What I always think is so annoying on Nextdoor, people that are like, I was supposed to have a package delivered and it says it was delivered and it's not. Has anyone seen my package? It's like, do you really think we're all just sitting around looking for your package, man? Like, call UPS.
I mean, it was probably Jen that stole it. So
yeah, I am a identifier.
Oh
man. Yeah.
That's great.
All right. That was a good one. Okay.
Thanks.
So this week we are getting for our top 5. We decided to do our top 5 celebrity crushes.
Yes.
I was inspired to pick this as a topic because this like really terrible movie came on and it's so bad. It's called Couples Retreat, but like 2 of my crushes were in this movie and I was like, well, I should watch it. And I did, but it's really bad. But I remember Jim being pretty surprised by one of the people that was my crush.
Yeah.
So, okay. So let's start from number 5 to 1, and Sally, you go first.
Okay. I do want to say that this was a hard list for me to make because I don't generally have big celebrity crushes. but I was thinking kind of like back, like I realized I was like, oh, I think I have crushes on certain characters at certain times rather than like
Okay.
an actor as a whole. So that will also like
That
inform the list.
stands. Yes.
Yeah. But I also was thinking about, I was like, well, who were my celebrity crushes as a kid? And I realized that all of them have
For Ralph
turned out.
Macchio.
Well, no, it was like Kirk Cameron and Ricky Schroeder. I'm like,
Oh, and
Jesus
they're all
Christ, those
crazy now.
They're all crazy
Yeah.
now. And like Corey Haim, R.I.P.
Yeah.
Like, man, I really did not
Yeah.
have good. Okay, so my number 5 is kind of in that same vein, but it is a tie. As you know, I love to do a tie.
Uh-huh.
And it is between Claire Danes in My So-Called Life, Amy Smart, kind of circa 1999. Did you ever see the movie Outside Providence?
I don't think so.
It's just like a random movie, but I thought she was like the coolest girl.
So
and then
cool in it.
Yeah, Carrie Russell and Felicity. So those are like,
Oh, okay.
like
Girl crushes. Yeah.
girl crushes where I was like, I want to be these women.
Yeah.
I want to be these teenage girls.
Right.
So bad.
Yeah. Everybody wanted to be Claire Danes because she got to make out with what's his face? Jared Leto. Jordan Catalano.
Mm-hmm.
My number 5, and this is like, I guess like most people wouldn't guess this, but do you remember the show Scrubs?
Yeah.
It wasn't JD, it was Turk. I thought Turk was so funny and cute.
Yeah.
I remember I just watched that show for Donald Faison is his real name, but he made me laugh and giggle like nobody, like, I don't know. There was just something about him. I could just look at him and laugh. I had the hugest crush on him. And he ended up marrying Jessica Simpson's best friend and assistant, Casey. And I think they're still happily married.
I think so
with
too.
children. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So he's a great husband also.
I totally am on board with that. If I would have thought of that one, I probably, because I loved Scrubs so much, and it was mostly because of him. He's so good on it.
Oh my God.
So lovely,
good.
so likable, so hot. I'm for that.
Okay. All right. What's your number 4?
Okay, my number 4 is Ethan Hawke from Reality Bites.
Do you know we saw Ethan Hawke when we were in New York?
And how's he holding up?
He looks good. Good. I thought, like, I didn't know what was happening. I thought I thought Jim was pulling me back from getting hit by a car. But we were walking down the street and like Jim like pulled me back like all of a sudden, and he was like, "Oh my God!" And then he was like, "Ethan Hawke." He was like 2 feet away, but he was wearing a like head to toe this like bright red jumpsuit. Like, and had like a ascot. He was very fancy. I've heard he looked good, but I have heard did you know that he like got together, because then we got into the whole night became about Ethan Hawke. But did you know that he got together with his nanny? That was like the nanny that was that nannied his kids when he was with Uma Thurman, and then after him and Uma Thurman broke up, he got with the nanny. He's been married to ever since. But he swears it was after Uma.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah.
I didn't know that, and I don't like it.
Okay.
I didn't
like it either.
But that's why I don't like him as a person. I like him,
what he looks
his
like.
character in Reality Bites.
His character is horrible. That is the worst. Watch it again. Watch it again and ask yourself, he is such a piece of shit. He waits until Lainey's happy and then ruins everything, and then he fucking mooches off her, and he doesn't have a job, and he moves into her house, and like the moral of the story is like, oh, just like wait till a girl is happy and with someone who's successful and taking care of her, and then make her feel like a piece of shit and slut shame her into getting back together with you, and then you just live on her couch and and offer nothing to her.
What can I say? Just, like, it was the
sad.
90s. It was the 90s.
That's the worst character to have a crush on. But yes, it was the 90s. And I will say that I feel like when the first time I saw it in high school, I think I was super into Ethan Hawke.
Yeah.
But then like I've watched that movie as an adult, and ask yourself.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, you're totally right. But I can't, the heart wanted what the heart wanted. And the heart wanted Ethan Hawke.
And
So
it's somebody to like sing Violent Femmes at you.
yeah, I wanted somebody to like sit on a, have a skateboard and smoke cigarettes and,
Yeah.
wouldn't it be like a teeny tiny Winona Ryder?
Okay. So my number 4 is Benicio del Toro. I mean, is there a hotter man? Just a handsome man.
Yeah.
He's cool and he's handsome and he's brooding and he's just sex. Like, oh, I can't. Like, he's so he's so unique. There's no other Benicio del Toro.
I
Are
gotta
you
look
Googling it?
Yeah, I'm Googling him.
You don't know?
No, I do know. I'm just looking at some pictures. I just saw something with him in it.
He's so hot. Oh, you know who else? Okay, this isn't on my list, but I was in New York in February, and we saw Jimmy Smits was at the table next to us.
Oh my God, I love a Jimmy Smits.
He's in his 70s, and I will tell you, I would have slept with him immediately. He looks so good.
Yes.
He's so hot. And we were like, no, he's not in his 70s. And I Googled it, and I was like, no way. And then we were staring at him the whole time. And then my friend Milani ended up waving to him. Oh, he's 68. Okay, 68 years old. But I tell you, I would date him in a heartbeat.
I mean, see, this is the thing is I don't think about these people, but then now that you brought him up, I'm like, well, those are two amazing.
Yeah.
Jimmy Smits. I mean,
oh, man, he is aging like fine wine.
And he's in everything he's in, he's just the most caring. He has so much gravitas. He's the best dad or grandpa or whatever, and whatever he's in, it's oh
yeah.
He's when he played the president and what's it called?
I don't know.
Oh, in West Wing, he was the presidential
right.
Remember?
Yeah,
he was a presidential. He had morals. All right, I like that. Right. I might switch him out for my number 3. But I will. So that's a really good one. But then also, my number 3 is Dule Hill. Do you know that? He was in Psych. Did you ever watch Psych? Which kind of. He was one of the friends in Psych. He's because he was so funny. Dule Hill. He actually was in West Wing. He was the intern in West Wing. He is the dad now in the New Wonder Years.
Okay, yes, he's very handsome.
He's very handsome, and he's very funny, which is that. That's what gets me. I am more drawn to character and somebody who has a good sense of humor and.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm gonna say that's my number 3.
Into it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
My number 3 is, again, this might be a surprise to some people. And I thought I knew who Jon Favreau was. I thought I had an idea about the kind of guy he was. But then when I watched his show, The Chef Show on Netflix, I talked about this on Dumb Love. He's so he's a fucking billionaire almost. He has so much money, and he's such a bigwig in Hollywood. But the way he is on the Chef Show is he's so humble, and he talks to every chef that he he's yeah, chef, I work for you. You teach me. I'm here to learn. And he totally is what do you need? I'll clean your kitchen and what he's just so cool and humble and passionate. He's so passionate about everything that he does. He's passionate about every part of a recipe. He's passionate about learning techniques from other people and how people came up with certain recipes and techniques. And I just watching him on this show, just I just fell in love with his passion for life and also his humility.
I think he's such an interesting, smart guy.
Yeah.
He is written so much. He's directed so much. He's just a really interesting, amazing, a really interesting person. I mean, I loved him in Swingers. I mean, of course, I also love Vince Vaughn, a 23-year-old Vince Vaughn in Swingers. But yeah, I think that's a good pick. You've got some interesting taste, Jen. I like that.
Yeah, I'm just attracted to, well, number one, hot guys. Number two,
Yeah.
I'm really attracted to those people who like are passionate about life and stuff,
I'm just attracted to
And
those
are
people who are
cool.
like symmetrical,
Super hot.
and like really built, look good.
No, but that's what like makes people attractive to me. Like I wouldn't have looked at John Favreau. Like in my head before I watched that show, I thought he was probably just a douche,
Yeah.
and I wasn't attracted to him at all. It wasn't right of me to assume that. But then when I watched him, I just became I find him to be so attractive now.
Yeah.
But okay, so who's your number two?
Okay, now my number two is a tie, and these are like teenage, young 20s TV crushes.
Okay.
And it's Milo Ventimiglia from
he's
Gilmore
cute.
Girls
Mhm.
and Scott Speedman from when he was on Felicity.
Yeah, he's cute too.
I think those, like when I rewatch those shows or when I see those actors, it's like I get that like longing feeling that you only have when you're like a teen or like in your 20s where you're like, oh, I just love that guy so much.
Yes.
Yeah. So those are
I can relate because number two, I have been in love with since I was a child. And he, again, someone who ages so well. I loved him then. I loved him 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I will love him. I love him now. I will love him in 20 years. John Stamos.
Oh yeah,
I
you love a
mean-
John Stamos.
I love John Stamos. He's also like cool and he's funny.
Mhm.
And but he's just like, he's just the most handsome man on the planet.
Yeah, he's aging very
Okay.
well.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Good for his wife.
Good for them, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Number
my number one is just the person in the movie that I've seen most recently that I was like, I cannot take my eyes off this person. I am like so drawn to them, and I am like just have a non-sexual crush on, and it is Margot Robbie. When I
she's
saw her
gorgeous.
in
Yeah.
like seeing her on the big screen in Barbie, I was like, is there a more perfect looking person?
I know.
I watched her on that show Hot Ones. You know what I'm talking about? The one where they eat hot
I haven't
wings.
seen it. Yeah.
And like even eating the hottest hot wings, like sweating, she still is like somehow manages. And she's not like a stuck-up person. She's like really down to earth, and she does interesting films and movies, but she is just so exquisite. Like I'm like, I can't help but have a crush on her.
I mean, I get that. I totally get that.
Yeah.
Okay, my number one, and I have told jokes about this on stage.
Mm-hmm.
I'm convinced that I will run into him eventually. And we have a mutual friend, and I'm just like, well, do something about it already. Is Jason Bateman.
Yeah.
I just love him. I just love him. I can't explain it. I mean, it's so funny because we were watching the documentary about Smartless or whatever, and he's so like type A and uptight and particular and wound up. And Jim was like, this doesn't seem like your type at all. Like this kind of wound up guy that's like worried about eating and whatever. And I'm like, it's not my guy at all. I can't explain it. I just can't explain it. I just like, is he the most attractive guy? No. But he's certainly handsome for sure. But I don't know. He's got, as the kids say, Riz.
Do the kids say that?
What, Riz? Like what? Do kids say that Jason Bateman has Riz, or do kids
No,
say
I just
the word
didn't. I've never
Riz?
heard Riz.
Oh yeah, all the kids
Oh
are
no,
saying
charisma.
They've got Riz. And
got
Jason
Riz.
Bateman's definitely got it. Mhm.
Yeah, he's got Riz.
This stupid movie we were watching the other night,
Couples Retreat?
Yeah, it had Jon Favreau, Jason Bateman, and it had Vince Vaughn in it. And it still wasn't enough to make me like the movie. It was just
it's a
really
horrible
bad.
movie.
It's so bad. Yeah.
It's real bad.
But,
Yeah, it's
but
real bad.
well, he doesn't do comedy anymore, but he did for a minute. His name's Cody, and I don't know if they're still filming, Jason Bateman's stand-in on Ozark, which they're filming here in Atlanta. And I'm like, can you tell him about my jokes? Like, can you just like tell him there's a comedian that's in love with him and tells jokes about him on stage? Can you just like invite him to his show? So there was a minute where I kept secretly wishing I was going to see Jason Bateman in the audience, but I think that ship has sailed. So
No, I still believe in it for you. I believe in it for you.
I really hope.
All right. Well, that's our list. We want to hear what your list is. Who would be on your list? Is it old favorites? Is it like somebody who's just new and incredibly hot? Like I almost had to put Brad Pitt from Thelma and Louise.
Okay.
Because he was just so beautiful in that movie.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Like I don't have a crush on him, but he was just a beautiful specimen in that movie.
When you were talking about newer people like that you've seen recently, I remembered like Ray J. John is just like, oh my God. Like what the fuck? So
yeah. How do you get to be so pretty?
I know. I just doesn't make any sense.
So we want to hear your list.
Yeah.
And because I think I could probably come up with a different list on a different day, you know?
Yeah.
Get in touch with us. You can find us, you can answer all our questions and tell us about the people that you have crushes on Instagram at The Ridiculous Pod. You can find us on all other social media at The Ridiculous Podcast. You can rate and review. You could tell a friend. We would love that.
Yes, do all of those things. Thank you guys so much for everything. And we'll see you next week on The Ridiculous.
Ridiculous, ridiculous, ridic. You.